Okay. Yep. We're already live, so let's just wait for more people to come in before we actually continue with the with the rest of the topics that we're going to tackle. Okay. First things first. There's like 5 points that I want to discuss in today's live session. And a lot of those topics is centered on the at issue naman, but centered on the topic of yung very ill timing na launch nung Miss Grand Philippines dito sa Pilipinas, which according to some of my colleagues will happen in the coming week. So um, let's wait for more people to join in before we start jumping off with the discussion. In the meantime, please like and share this YouTube live stream para mas marami ang makakita ng ating video. So anyway, so una sa lahat, let's decompress muna from the topic na medyo mabigat na pag-uusapan, and let's talk muna about yung announcement ng Miss Charm Philippines, which now I am speculating na this might be, a way para mag-ingay yung pageant. And it's probably that in my speculation, sa tingin ko yung nagma-manage ng sino ba talaga yung I'm not really sure kung sino ba talaga nagma-manage ng page na yon. That is why I am a bit skeptical with the announcement that starting 2024, the Miss Charm Philippines will be under the Binibining Pilipinas na umbrella. So let's unpack things first. Una sa lahat, I don't think that there is any other official na Miss Charm Philippines na account on Facebook. When I was alerted to that post, when I was alerted to that, posting, which is actually, when I saw it, it was almost like 22 hours since it was already posted. So ibig sabihin medyo babad na siya, medyo matagal na siyang nakapost doon sa kanilang feed. So ang basa ko doon is that this might be the only na account that the Miss Charm Philippines have on Facebook, and therefore there is a large possibility na legit yung announcement nila that it's going to be under the Binibining Pilipinas umbrella. However, I don't want to jump into the conclusion that yes, this is official, mangyayari nga ito, because Annabelle McDonald, the one that is appointed as Miss Charm Philippines for 2023, is under the Miss Universe Philippines na umbrella. And from how I see it, this might be the I don't know, maybe the organization or the franchise is still under Empire. So nangangahulugan na siguro yung pinirmahan nilang kontrata is up until next year. Or within the inaugural year ng Miss Charm International. So if that's the case na yung kanilang contract with Miss Charm International is for its inaugural year, then it makes sense that the Miss Charm, the Miss Charm representative for 2023 is going to be, from the Miss Universe Philippines na organization under Empire. So that makes sense, at least on my end. Now, if we are going to look at yung yung optics dito, it looks like that if ever nakukoron ang Binibining Pilipinas ng Binibining Pilipinas Charm International, next year at nga sa kanila nga yung magiging franchise, the one who will be winning the Binibining Pilipinas charm is going to compete in 2024. That would mean that if in case nakokorona ang Binibining Pilipinas na mga winners next year, the ones that is going to compete for Miss International and perhaps Miss Charm International will be crowned in 2023 but will be competing in 2024. So medyo ano yun ha, medyo klaro yun, and I hope na everyone is is clear about that. Everyone is how to say this is well advised on that matter. So it makes sense na isipin natin ngayon na yung for 2023, because it's the inaugural year, it will be coming from the Empire na organization, from the Miss Universe Philippines na organization. That's why Annabelle McDonald is there. And it makes sense na if sa Binibining Pilipinas nga mapupunta yung Miss Charm na franchise, then they might be crowning their title holder either next year for Binibining Pilipinas 2023, but will compete in 2024. Or they might even opt out in the way that they might crown the Miss Charm in Binibining Pilipinas Charm in 2024. So there are two possible scenarios na pwedeng mangyari there are two possible scenarios na pwedeng mangyari for the Binibining Pilipinas Charm. Now, again, as I said earlier, I don't want to put a lot of stock into it na totoo nga yung posting na yon, that it has truth to it, but I am cautiously optimistic to believe that the organization would be very brazen and bold to advise na yung franchise is going to be under the Binibining Pilipinas na organization, while their current arrangement is with a different organization. So tingnan natin, tiplahin lang natin a little bit on that dahil maraming pwedeng mangyari in a year or two. So I don't want to be very I don't want to be very invested in the possibility, but if totoo nga na mangyari yung ganun na arrangement, then I'm just glad that at least hindi nababawasan ng ang Binibining Pilipinas ng mga franchise na hindi napapalitan, na walang kapalit, diba? Okay, Bandy, hello, good evening. Pa-attendance muna tayo dun sa mga gusto magpa-attendance. Now, Bandy is one of our regulars here. Tanong niya, good evening, Sir Jason. Is there truth to the rumors that Intercon is leaving Binibining Pilipinas anytime soon? Wait lang, let me just adjust yung fan because medyo siya. Medyo off yung okay, okay. Mahirap ka agad yung tanong, di ba? Bandy, okay, yes. I've heard something about that. And it's not the first time that I've heard, that gusto na ngang lumipad din ng Miss Intercontinental from Binibining Pilipinas. And if it is true, and yung dahilan nila is because hindi sila napagbigyan na i-host ang Binibining Pilipinas, i-host ng Araneta yung Miss Intercontinental na pageant sa Pilipinas, then I don't know, parang napaka-petty na dahilan. Because una sa lahat, without Binibining Pilipinas, I think hindi naman magkakaroon ng ganong katunog na pangalan ang Intercon without the added na prestige that is being brought about by Binibining Pilipinas. And if ang dahilan nila kaya sila lumipat ng ibang franchises, ibang pageant system, it's because hindi sila napagbigyan, then very shallow yung kanilang reason, because kung kung Miss International nga hindi nga pinapressure yung Binibining Pilipinas na mag-host ng MI dito sa Pilipinas, 'di ba? Parang ano pa ba sila? I mean, compared to, bigger and more established na mga pageants. I don't particularly believe naman na um, hindi naman sila nag-invest sa BPCI with winners like Karen Galman and the latest, Cindy Obenita. But I feel that Miss Intercon needs to, I don't know, needs to do something about the way that they do their pageants, kasi there are editions na hindi ganun ka-glossy. In fact, I remember that the very first time na namangha ako doon sa production, doon sa stage design, doon sa overall flow ng Miss Intercontinental pageant was when it was held here in, I think, January or February of 2018, where nanalo nga si Karen Galman as Miss Intercontinental. And I think that was the glossiest that the pageant has been since, although yung recent na edition kind of, leveled itself up din naman. But if totoo, and I cannot say for sure na totoo na naaalis nga sila ng Binibining Pilipinas, then it's their loss. Established ang Binibining Pilipinas, and with or without Intercon, I think they will survive. Kung na-survive nga nila yung pag-alis ng Miss Universe sa kanila, I mean, how much more kung mga international na minor titles pa ang lumayas, di ba? Ayan, pa-attendance tayo. Hi, Jeff Tuna. Good evening. Roscoe is also here. Pa-attendance po, sabi niya. Okay. Johan Sung, hello, good evening. I'm hoping na wherever you are, if you are in Korea, you're safe and sound there. Rodvin Thiel, one of our regulars here. Good evening, and I hope na in good mood tayong lahat dito sa pa-live natin, dahil marami tayong mapag-uusapan. Marami tayong sort of issues to tackle. Okay? Okay. So Bandy, balik tayo sa kay Bandy. She's saying here, in my opinion, the addition of Miss Charm International to the roster of crowns of Binibining okay, ulit. In my opinion, the addition of Miss Charm International to the roster of crowns in Binibining Pilipinas, in the Binibining Pilipinas stable, is what the BPCI badly needed. Pag nawala pa ang isang corona sa kanila, critical stage ng ang Binibining Pilipinas. Kinda agree. I think siguro kung isa o dalawa ang nawala, then okay lang. Pero we've seen Supra, Universe, Grand, and now Intercon na mawala. Maganda siguro na medyo balansehin natin na medyo mas maging agresibo din ang Binibining Pilipinas in terms of, filling in the empty slots with, new but remarkable na mga pageant, international pageant. Of course, we would want na sana mas established yung mga franchises na meron sa Binibining Pilipinas. But the thing kasi with Binibining Pilipinas and how it operates is that I've observed that more than winning international crowns, more than the international franchises itself, ang focus talaga nila is yung experience ng mga candidates ng Pilipinas, yung mga delegates ng Pilipinas. Are they having a good time? Are they treated fairly? Are they treated well in the international competitions? Napapakain ba sila? Napapakain ba sila on time? Respetable ba yung pagtrato sa kanila? Fair ba yung judging process sa kanila? Are they experiencing, the negative aspects of favoritism? Those are things that after the competition, the Binibining Pilipinas organization talk to the girls. Hindi mawawala na merong mga aspeto na mga girls na dinadaing about the pageant itself, but there are also pointers na may mga good points din silang sinasabi. So ibig sabihin, binabalanse ng Binibining Pilipinas whether or not a pageant franchise is, problematic katulad ng MGI or worth holding on. And I think for the longest time, yun yung medyo unaware tayong mga fans, because we see things from a different perspective. I think the Binibining Pilipinas organization are most likely looking at the perspective of the candidates themselves. So kahit na sa tingin natin, inaagrabyado na tayo ng mga pageants na ito, if the candidates themselves, say that they are being treated fairly, and they are treated well, then siguro walang masyadong issue. Siguro kung ang issue is yung super talagang malala na hindi sila pinapakain, ginugutom sila, yun siguro ibang usapan na yon. Automatic siguro na gagawa sila ng action. Ayan. And now, with regards to Binibining Pilipinas, I think it's great that they are actively pursuing na mga new na mga franchises, simply because there is a lot of new pageants that have potential. And I think siguro isa sa mga napag-uusapan na mga pageants ngayon na pwedeng kunin ng Binibining Pilipinas, mga pageants na their past Binibining Pilipinas candidates have competed in actually won. So we have, let's say, Shane Tormes, who won Miss Global. We have Miss Aura International, kung saan si Faith Garcia nanalo. And then we also have Miss Elite a candidate like, oh my God, biglang na-mental block ako. Shannon Pamaong was first runner up, and so these are mga pageants na although it is lesser known, but seems like that there are potential for these pageants to go big. And ang Binibining Pilipinas, I think, was also looking at other Latin American na mga pageants, that there is a potential to acquire franchises from them. So I'm glad that they are looking to be more competitive and more aggressive in their acquisition of new titles. So yon. So now let's go to the meat and bones, the meat and potatoes of this live. And okay, pansin nyo yung thumbnail ko, medyo binago ko ng konti because I think that yung natin, yung topic natin ngayon needs to be adjusted because of the many developments na nangyari over the past several hours. So alam naman natin na problematic ang MGI. We've had we all have experience. We all have seen kung paano naging shady sa atin yung pageant. Nakita naman natin na kahit na under Binibining Pilipinas pa lang din sila, they have been dropping hints na aalis sila. They have been they've been shady underhandedly. And knowing Binibining Pilipinas, they're not usually the type of national pageant na sila mismo yung magsasabi na ilalaglag namin yung pageant na ito. Usually, ang Binibining Pilipinas, they keep quiet about any franchises na gustong umalis sa kanila, whether it's Miss World, whether it's Miss Universe or Miss Supranational. Pero pansin nyo, namumukod tangin na sila ang nagsabi na ilalaglag nila itong pageant franchise na ito, even before any actual and any official announcement has been made. And doon mo nyo makikita yung certain certain behavior ng organization when it comes to MGI, because hindi naman naging ganon ka-smooth yung relationship ng Pilipinas with that pageant. Now, the reason why I changed the title, because I think that itong si MGI, ang hilig niyang magpaandar. And yung paandar niya, it's not necessarily the kind of paandar that we all would be happy about. It's triggering, and gaslighting kasi kung minsan yung mga ginagawa ni MGI. And right now, from the perspective of someone who is covering pageants, very, hindi magandang tignan yung ginagawa nila na itatapat nila yung kanilang mga activities dito sa Pilipinas on the actual Miss Earth na pageant na kasalukuyan. I think it's no, it's no secret that the MGI has been very, antagonistic with the Miss Earth na pageant. Even if kahit sa hinaba-haba ng panahon, wala tayong nakitang retaliatory measure na ginawa ang Miss Earth sa MGI. If you remember, at one point, naging ano pa nga naging franchise holder pa nga si Uncle ng ng Miss Earth Thailand before. And alam naman natin na during that time na hinawakan niya ang franchise ng Miss Earth Thailand, may mga underhanded din di umano ng mga ginawa siyang panunulot ng mga franchise directors from other countries na lumipat sa MGI. And I think that tells something about yung integridad nung tao. It tells something about how how gagawin niya ang lahat, kahit makatapak siya ng ibang tao, kahit na makaapekto sa integridad niya yung ginagawa niya para lang mapag-usapan, para lang maiangat yung kanyang pageant. And I think that is one of the reasons why we have a terrible relationship with this pageant. And it's very, it's just very shady. Very, very, alam mo yun, yung patago kung manaksak. Parang ganun yung labas niya. Hindi maganda yung naging opening salvo niya, kumbaga, dito sa relationship niya with Pinoy fans and Pinoy franchises. And itong ginagawa niya ngayon na parang tinotroll niya yung schedules ng ME para mapag-usapan yung ila-launch na local franchise dito sa Pilipinas is so much like a narcissistic na move ng isang taong may God complex. Yun yung nakikita ko, yun yung interpretation ko of how he actually is, making sure na yung mga activities niya dito talagang itatapat niya doon sa ng Miss Earth, sa schedule ng Miss Earth. And parang sa tingin ko kasi yung ganitong klaseng mga galawan, it's if you want to be a respectable and a alpha pageant, you would refrain from something that makes your integrity and something that makes your public image on the negative side. I think yun yung hindi yung nakikita natin na tasteless na ginagawa niya. Kaya I am not I'm not surprised na gagawin niya yun sa Miss Earth kasi ginawa na niya yun before na very unhanded yung and very backhanded yung ginawa niyang mga aktibidades. So hindi ako magtataka na uulitin niya ngayon yon. But what makes me very cringy with this situation is that it puts pageant media in a crossfire between their loyalties with the Miss Earth and yung launch ng Miss what do you call this, ng Miss Grand Philippines. Kasi kung hindi nyo nakikita is that yung grupo ng pageant media dito sa Pilipinas, maliit lang yan. Hindi yan aabot ng 100 o mahigit. Very tight-knit yung community ng mga pageant media dito sa Pilipinas. And between their loyalties to the Miss Earth versus their loyalties to the Miss World Philippines organization under ALV, kapag hindi nila kinover yung Miss Grand Philippines, they are also worried na baka hindi sila may invite later on sa Miss World Philippines or Miss Supranational Philippines kapag pageant time na nung mga mas bigger na mga pageant. So I understand yung relationship ng mga pageant media na parang ayaw nilang what do you call this? Ayaw nilang maka-offend, and ayaw din nila na na hindi i-cover yung bawat isa. But if you are a pageant, if you are a pageant blogger na nag-iisa ka lang, na hindi ka katulad ng, let's say, Sociology or Sash Factor that have a pool of photographers and videographers under you na pwede mong, okay, let's split, one team goes to this event, the other team goes to event. You are now going to have to make a decision between covering, the Miss Earth activities, or you are covering the Miss Grand Philippines activities. And I think yun yung mahirap na sitwasyon ng mga pageant media na kanilang susuungin in the next couple of weeks, in the next several days. And thankfully for me, I don't have to make that decision because I don't cover naman particularly yung mga papiging na malalayo sa akin. So if outside Cubao na siya kung minsan, there's a big question mark if I'm going to even spend money and time for transportation to cover pageants na malalayo sa akin. And I've been very very open about that to my colleagues na kapag sinabi mong Okada Manila na yung finals o kaya Resorts World yung finals, magdadalawang isip ako kung i-cover ko yun. Dahil una, these pageants, they usually, end up late in the evening. Pangalawa, the proximity of the venue, pinag-iisipan ko dahil ang hirap kayang humanap ng sasakyan pauwi. Unlike pageants that is usually held in Cubao na accessible sa lahat, na may MRT, na after the proceedings there is a bus station in Araneta City na pwede kang umuwi pa south o pa north. So yun yung magandang aspect ng Cubao at ng Araneta kasi they are very accessible in different modes of transport. Now, if you are going to make a decision and you're a pageant media and you're going to make a decision between covering Miss Earth and Miss Grand Philippines, then kinakailangan mong i-balance kasi there are also mga fans na kino-call out yung mga nagko-cover ng Miss Grand. And there's a recent conversation between me and Adam where tingin ko it's unfair na nako-call out din siya ng mga fans because trabaho niya yung maglagay ng content. And whatever that content is, whether it's Miss Grand or Miss Universe or Miss International, that's his prerogative. Pero yun na nga, I advised him to be very careful because hindi maganda yung relationship ng fans with Miss Grand International. So kinakailangan, alam niyo yun, ang hirap maging maingat mahirap maging sobrang ingat with the coverages when nagsabay-sabay itong mga events na ito. And second na gusto kong i-point out with this situation between MGI and MGP and of course Binibining Pilipinas is that it puts Roan in a very dangerous or rather potentially awkward situation. Dangerous kasi if Roan has aspirations to go to bigger international na mga competitions later on, we don't want that yung optics sa kanya is that yung patalon-talon siya sa mga mga pageant organizations that na may makikita siya. Hindi magandang optics yon, and I really hope that Rowan's team will be very cautious moving forward because it does not look good on her na tumatalon-talon siya from one org, from one group to another. the optics is going to be very terrible. So I really want her to be very careful of her image. Kasi Roan, for me, is one of those girls na pwede kasing ilaban pa sa international na competition. Pero kung masira yung imahe niya, she really needs to be very, to be very careful because image and reputation is a very big thing here in the pageant industry. Kasi maliit lang yung ginagalawan ng mundong ito. Now, before I go off track with that. I really hope na the team and the people are surrounding Roan would be very careful in the way that she talks about these pageants because ayaw din naman natin na magmukhang nilaglag niya ang Binibining Pilipinas just so that she can have a foot on the door, kumbaga, in Thailand. I want her to be very careful with the way that she speaks out na hindi maging disadvantages for her dahil she definitely can potentially be a future Miss Universe Philippines. So yung ability to thread between very fine lines without na hindi niya mailalaglag ang Binibining Pilipinas or ang MGI needs to be very well planned and very well thought of. So kinakailangan talaga yung very fine na line between being diplomatic and sumusunod sa gusto ng international organization, sana mabalanse niya yon. Okay? Okay, before we continue with that thread, let's start muna with some comments kasi medyo napapahaba na yung nabanggit ko on that, on that front. Okay, so medyo marami na tayong mga comments. Okay, Bandy, ikaw na naman. Okay, yeah. Bandy says, Miss Cosmo World looks promising. I agree, but before we make like final judgments on it, let's see muna kung how it goes. Let's see later on with Meiji if maganda ba yung experience niya. I know that very promising in terms of prizes kasi sino ba naman ang hindi tatanggi sa 100,000 na US dollar na cash prize, and yung mga iba pang mga sponsor prizes and services that would totally amount to around 200,000 USD. So parang ang laking pera nun, di ba? Parang pag naipanalo niya yon, there's a possibility na pag-uwi ni Meiji, milyonarya na siya, di ba? So ano tayo, let's be cautious dahil at this point in time, hanggat hindi natin nakikita kung paano siya ini-execute, we really need to be very careful sa mga pageants na ito dahil ayokong magkaroon tayo ng scenario na Miss Planet International ulit na naman tayo, di ba? We thought na there is promise and then suddenly biglang, oops, wait lang, ni Aberya. And we don't want to endanger our candidates like yung nangyari kay Herlene. So, alam mo yun, let's just be very cautious and careful sa mga pageants na ito unless they have a proven track record na maybe 5 or 10 years silang in existence at nakita natin yung kanilang mga pamamalakad ng mga pageants nila. But I agree, Bandy. Miss Cosmo World looks promising. Okay, Johan Sung. Sana mag-focus na lang ang carousel sa Miss Earth. Bigay na lang sa Cubao yung MPE. I don't think that will happen, Johan. Tama ba? Dapat kasi yung pangalan mo, yung Korean apelyido ang nauuna eh. Sung Johan, di ba? Anyway, what I was saying about, with regards to MPE, na kung ibibigay siya sa Binibining Pilipinas, ang hirap niyang i-include kasi very niche yung requirement ng Miss Philippines Earth. Before I advocate for Binibining Pilipinas Earth, kasi ang ganda niyang tignan. It's another way of, building up yung image ng Miss Earth through the Binibining Pilipinas na pageant. But I realized na with the personality of Miss Earth, na they are very unapologetic dun sa the way that they run their pageant, na hindi factor sa kanila yung glamour, na wala silang pakialam kung entertaining yung kanilang pageant, na hindi sila very well um, focused on the entertainment factor of pageantry, at talagang very serious sila dun sa advocacy nila. Then bigyan na natin sa kanila yon. Hindi na ang nakikita ko ngayon is that it's so difficult to force a square peg on a round hole. It might work, but it will never be a good fit, especially kung talagang set na yung mind ng Miss Earth on their advocacy and dun sa kanilang pamamalakad. So kung yun yung talagang gusto nilang mangyari, then ibigin na natin sa kanila. Hindi na natin sila pwedeng i-force to make changes with the way they do their pageants. Ayan. So sa mga bagong salta doon sa mga kasama nating nasa live ngayon, please give a like dito sa ating live stream para naman dumami-dami pa tayo dito sa community natin dito sa Sashes&Scripts. Okay, Hajiev, not that optimistic on Miss Grand Philippines considering the people behind it are the same as MWP. Messy and disorganized. I think they lack manpower, kaya it looks messy and disorganized. Maybe if they have a bigger organization running the running the pageant, kasi they're not just running one pageant now, they're running 3 pageants. So they need to find people who are maalam when it comes to running pageants, at hindi yung pagsasama-samahin nila sa isang tao yung roles na dapat for 2 or 3 different people. I think ang hirap na gawin yon. Even Binibining Pilipinas, they even outsource a number of their manpower from the Accredited City Group na marketing, na tumutulong doon sa mga send-offs nila. So ibig sabihin, kumbaga, there are a lot of people na kailangan sa pagpapatakbo smoothly na isang pageant. Okay. Arvin. Hello, Arvin. Arvin F. Allegado. Hello, sir. Present for today's live. Hello, Arvin. Kumusta? I hope na you didn't miss much doon sa ating pa-live, kasi medyo marami na tayo na pag-usapan. Okay? Haji, on another note, hope di ka na winawarla naman. Okay. After last night, I just decided to block several of these, accounts from, mga trolinang babalina sa kadrilinang taga-baba. Ayon. Kasi ang hirap din naman na paano ba? Paano natin i-quantify ito? Kasi una sa lahat, pinipilit nila na ako si Pageant Connection, even if I'm not. Even if si mismong Pageant Connection, clarify na niya na I'm not the same entity as theirs. And for the past 2 years, if you noticed, I have never posted, anything that is related to their girls. Kasi ayokong masilipan tayo, ayokong dumugin tayo dahil maganda na yung natin yung takbo ng ating mga social media accounts, the discussions in Facebook and especially in Instagram are very intelligent interactions and discussions between pageant fans. I pose very intellectual na mga questions, and a lot of our followers and subscribers are actually intelligent, well educated, well mannered, the mga individuals who have something to say about the state of pageantry, about opinions with what's going on in the pageant community and the pageant industry. And I think the mere fact that I'm being dragged by these trolls na tinatawag akong baboy, tinatawag akong ugly and all of that. Parang, dude, hindi nyo na kinakailangan sabihin yan. I am aware na I am not the most handsome-looking guy in the planet. I'm not the commercial type in international type na iisipin niyang may itsura. I admit I am not even the most physically fit na person, but those kinds of insult, parang ganun na lang sa akin. Parang wala ba kayong maipintas na bago? I mean, you've been telling that for what? 4 years, 3 years already, and wala kayong bagong maipato sa akin. If you are going to malign me and bully me for the way I look, then di hamak naman na mas may itsura ako sa kalahati ng populasyon ninyo. 'Di ba? Pinoy ako eh. Walang bihira ang mga Pinoy na na walang itsura. So, saan kayo? I mean, kung yung normal lang na may itsura dito, gwapong-gwapo kayo, 'di ba? Parang hello naman. I'm not saying na wag niyo akong awayin based on looks, but kung aawayin niyo ako, make sure that inaaway niyo ako dahil may ginawa akong hindi maganda sa inyo. Hindi yung you accuse me of something that I didn't do, you accuse me to be a person that I am not, and then you're gonna drag drag yung mga personal ko na mga posts on Facebook dahil wala kayong makitang maayos na na pwede niyong ibato sa akin na kinakailangan yung i-alter yung itsura ko, palakihin yung ilong, palakihin yung bibig, patabain palalo yung mukha. Parang, dude, get a life. And this is exactly the reason why Microsoft made a study and found out that these trolls from down under, from the neighbors down under, are the rudest in Southeast Asia. So, yon, di ba? Okay, okay, let's now go to Hajiev ulit. No, it's Rodvin Fiel. Sorry pala. Hello, Rodvin. Sir, paano ba maging member ng Pageant Media? Okay, first thing is that you have to have an established na pageant page. On my account kasi, I started in 2018, although I previously am associated with Sash Factor. And nung kumalas ako sa Sash Factor, I already have an established website of my own, a blog site of my own. And yun, ginamit ko yun in terms of accreditation. Kasi during 2018, after, I think it was during Binibining Pilipinas, I was actually being summoned by the Aranetas na, okay, napapansin namin itong blogger na ito. He puts, very interesting, very intelligent mga articles in his blog. So invite him to cover for Binibining Pilipinas. And that's what got my foot on the door. That actually, was my introduction to the accredited na media na mga partners. And to be honest, sa Binibining Pilipinas lang ako nagpa-accredit. Simply because I was summoned and I was asked to cover and to give insights from the sa mga events nila, and doon nag-start lahat. And then when I asked about ano yung kinakailangan kong i-submit, sinabi sa akin na just a letter would suffice, and it was actually more of a formality na lang kasi nga they summoned me. diba? So, on my end, what I did was, okay, para magmukha siyang legit, magmukha siyang, how do you say this? Magmukha siyang official and professional. What I did was, okay, they invited me, but I need to prove myself, even if it's only through paper. So what I did was, I accounted for yung history ng blog, yung history ng clicks. At that point in time, kasi in 2018, I think I got my first million hits on my blog. And then nilagay ko yon na on average, every day, I get at least an average of 1,000 clicks per day on my blog. So ibig sabihin, 1,000 ang nag-click, ang nagbabasa ng article ko araw-araw. And that allowed me, to have like a million hits within like 2.5 years, or 2 years and 3 months, parang ganon. And ipinakita ko yun sa Binibining Pilipinas para magkaroon din naman ako ng parang may ipapakita sa kanila. So in order, may isa-suggest ko is that you write to the Binibining Pilipinas na organization that you want to cover. Show statistics of your social media account, or your website, or your YouTube channel, and then explain to them kung ano yung maibibigay mo na type of coverage, and what are you willing to bring into the table. Kasi what I think that my advantage with other other pageant media at that time was that I was, how do you say this, I was offering something different from other bloggers. I wasn't afraid to tackle very sensitive, very difficult na mga topics in pageantry, kaya nabigyan ako ng pagkakataon na mag-cover live sa kanilang mga events. So, if you really are serious doon sa pag-cover ng mga pageants, show something of worth, of value first to the organization para ma-acknowledge kanila. Yun. Okay, Arvin. So, si Arvin ulit. Hello, Jason, can you tell us more sources on how reliable the BPCI in acquiring Miss Charm International? Again, I've said at the very beginning, hindi ako sure on how reliable is this, because ang intindi ko and ang basa ko doon sa post ng Miss Charm Philippines is that the page on Facebook is actually being managed perhaps by the Miss Charm International na organization. However, I don't have verification on that. Kaya ayoko munang magsalita ng patapos. Ayoko munang maging tuldok ito, because I think this is more of a comma. May katuloy ang sentence na ito. Hindi ito period na this is done deal. Kasi PPCI are very notorious when it comes to being tight-lipped with their franchise and franchises. And I think kung magsasalita sila, it might be closer doon sa actual na launch or sa actual na Binibining Pilipinas na mga dates. And even so, I think, I don't want also to spoil it na, totoo na nga ito, and then makuryente tayo. Kasi as I was looking at the legitimacy of the page, pansin ko na it's new, and it's still, it seems to still be at the introductory stage uh, uh, of a social media page. Kumbaga parang hindi pa buo yung about nila na section, hindi pa buo yung mga details ng kanilang website, ng kanilang contact details. So those are things that I would want to see. I would want to see first before making a assumption or making a conclusion that this is actually a legit na social media page. Kasi if you look at my page, nakalagay doon kung ano yung about may nakalagay is about na page ko so that people who are new to my page would understand and know me better, and it would allow them to have an understanding kung anong klaseng page ito. Is this a blog? Is this an entertainment page? Is this a celebrity influencer and that kind. So medyo kulang pa yung detalye on that side. And then when I look at Instagram, I couldn't find any official na Instagram page ng Miss Charm Philippines. So that is again another red flag for me na kinakailangan hinay-hinay muna ako, preno muna sandali ko na 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 i-confirm ito. That is why merong disclaimer doon sa post ko na question mark. Na this is, we're still waiting for more concrete na update on this because we don't want to be overly excited and then biglang hindi pala, di ba? Okay, nasaan na tayo? I think tapos na kay Arvin and we are okay, very controversial itong question ni EJ Belge. Okay, EJ is saying here, I think Rowan is damaged property. Don't you think, Sir Jason? I don't necessarily think that she is damaged property. I think that she is a little bit misguided with the way that she keeps on jumping from one organization, from one group to another. I only want na she understands the optics, how it looks like from an outsider na palipat-lipat siya ng organization, palipat-lipat siya ng grupo, ng kampo. Because in a very short span of time, in about less than 3 years, parang ang dami niyang nilipatan. And it would look like very, opportunistic yung reason kaya siya lumipat sa iba. And that is something that she needs to manage because kapag nabansagan ka na ng mga fans as something that is, that is on the negative, ang hirap na baguhin yung perspektibo na yon. And yun yung ayoko sanang yun yung sana gusto kong ma-realize ni Roan, to be careful of her image. So kapag nandito na siya at she's on her way with her duties and responsibilities as one of the 5 na fifth runner-up ng ng MGI, maging maingat siya sa sasabihin niya whenever she is in public na hindi niya ilaglag ang Binibining Pilipinas because she's still under contract with them. And at the same time, ingatan niya ang sarili niya na hindi siya magamit na pinanggalingan niyang mga organization. Kasi kilala naman natin si Nawat, hindi siya gagalaw na walang motibo. So, very suspect yung appointment niya niya kay Rowan kasi if he really wanted Rowan as one of the runners up of his pageant, then dapat sana dun pa lang sa Indonesia nakapasok na siya sa top 10, di ba? Parang there is that fear na baka gamitin siya ng organization against against well-respected people in the pageant industry na sana maging inquisitive and maging sharp siya sa ganung mga possibility na mangyari because the last thing Rowan needs is to further damage her reputation, and ito na yung pagkakataon that she really needs to placate yung mga fans na unti-unting may sinasabing hindi maganda sa kanya. Okay? Rodin Fiel, Sir, regarding Rowan, sana strategic yung mga moves niya. Pero for me lang, naging detrimental yung paglipat niya ng camp and pag-alis niya ng pro media. Regarding BPCI, going back to ALV, I think di naman niya control. I agree to a certain degree. But look at it from the perspective of Binibining Pilipinas din na na-appoint na nga si Rowan as 5th runner-up but they haven't said anything about that. di ba dapat at this point in time, nagkaroon na ng congratulatory message ang Binibining Pilipinas kay Roan to, for her appointment. But we haven't heard anything. And that silence is deafening. It's saying something without saying anything at all. And it's forcing us to read between the lines. Rodwin Fial, sana lang talaga ma-acquire ni BPB Visay ang MPE. I am not looking forward to it. But kung mangyari, why not? But maybe it's not the right fit for each other. Tom Consensino, Sir Jason, do you think it's possible na Julia Morley will cut her ties with ALV? I also personally think that national pageant for international pageant um, won't work in our country unlike in Thailand. Um, I don't know kasi if there is someone that I really wanted to handle the Miss World Philippines organization, that would have been Cory Carino. I would rather see the Miss World Philippines na title under Mutya ng Pilipinas kasi nandun si Madam Cory. And when Madam Cory was handling, the Miss World Philippines, ang ganda ng track record natin, malinis um, yung record natin, hindi tayo ngumanga nga sa sa pageant ni Julia under the leadership of Madam Cory. So maybe I'm hoping na maybe baka naman mas maganda kung ibigay na lang sa Mutya ang Miss World Philippines para nandun yung amor ni Julia kay Cory, nandun yung gandang relationship ng ND with the main international org. Okay, Bandy, Sir Jason, your reaction on the official Miss Universe profile headshots. Actually, Bandy, okay, good that you mentioned that because I think that parang nasobrahan yata sa filter o sa Photoshop yung or maybe sa airbrush yung mga photos. I don't know. It just feels like ang kapal ng fonda ng mga girls. And it's not that I have anything against that kasi maganda naman yung kinalabasan ng mga photos. I just feel that masyadong package or manufactured yung itsura ng mga official na profile shots ng mga girls. And I think, happyaw lang akong tumingin sa lagay na yun. Hindi ko pa na-absorb lahat kasi I haven't gone through all of the profiles individually. But as a whole, nakita ko na yung mga shots ng lahat ng mga girls and I feel collectively that a lot of the girls look so much airbrushed. That I feel na they laid on the foundation na ang kapal-kapal na ang pulbo, ang mata masyadong pinuno ng beauty products. And I think sana medyo hinay-hinay lang. I want sana the girls to look natural rather than lahat sila mukhang pwede mong itabi sa mga glam shot pics ni Kim Kardashian sa sobrang pagka-airbrush nila. So yun. Although marami magaganda definitely, it's just that it feels like a lot of them have been airbrushed to perfection na baka pag nakita natin sila on motion sa mga video, baka mamaya, wait, sino yan? Baka hindi natin makilala, di ba? Ayun. Rod Vinfiel, what if bumalik yung 3 major crowns sa Binibining Pilipinas? Na-miss ko yung time na World, Universe, International ang titles nila. I am hoping for that too. Because I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s na ang Binibining Pilipinas, yung 3 major international titles na sa kanila. And ang sarap pakinggan yung Binibining Pilipinas Universe na title, yung Binibining Pilipinas World, at Binibining Pilipinas International na simultaneously one by one ina-announce sa finals night. Ramsey, hello sir, I'm always present. Hello Ram, ayan. Buti naman nagparamdam ka, ayan, kasi I rarely read your comments on our pa-live. Okay, Rodwin Fiel, Trolinang Babalina. Ha ha ha. Good one, sir. Johnny V, hello and watching from the villages. Hello there. Ayan. Alexa Villano, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Present, naka-break from masteral studies for this discussion. Ay nako, Alexa. Sana magkita tayo ulit in some of these, pageant events. Kasi parang it's not enough yung mga chikahan natin kapag nagkikita tayo. Parang parating bitin. Alexa, as you all know, is from Rappler and the Crown Philippines, and now she's taking a hiatus, a little bit break to take her masteral studies. Ayan. She's one of the colleagues in the industry na we have very smart, intelligent discussions every time we meet. There. Ishtin. Hi, good evening. Ayan. Hello, Ish. Ishtin talaga. Nice name. Maria Elsa P. Padhuring. I'm hoping I am, pronouncing your last name correctly. Sir, nasaan na ba yun? Sir Jason, thoughts on the MUO owner and Jakrajutatip polling questions asking fans what they want to see in Miss Universe based on her character. She's the type that is considerate to what fans want. Ay, wait, that's Liamwell. Nagkamali ako. Wait lang, nasaan na tayo? Parang, okay, wait. Nasaan ba tayo? Parang nagkamali ako ng mga basa. Oh my God. Sorry. Ay, gosh. I think there. Sorry. Ang sinabi pala ni Maria Elsa P. Pajuring is very specific ang advocacy ng Miss Earth. Pag ang nanalong ME, Merlat sa Binibining Pilipinas, has a different advocacy, magiging pilit and not authentic dahil hindi aligned sa core belief ng girl. I agree. That is why now I am, having the opposite na mentality and thinking na maybe it's not the right fit. It looks good on paper but maybe sa execution nung advocacy nung girl baka mamaya hindi magtugma ng maayos. And I think it makes sense na siguro we just leave the niche of the Miss Earth pageant and the Miss Philippines Earth together as a collective, di ba? Tony Polines. First time to attend your live session, learning a lot so far. Thank you. I hope ma-enjoy mo yung ating pa-live. Ayan. At habang ina-enjoy nyo ang pa-live, please, like our live stream ngayon and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet para dumami tayo kasi I love the fact that dumadami yung mga nagko-comment sa mga pa-live stream natin. Ayan. Nini, wala kasing silang maibato. Oh, okay. I think Nini is trying to say something about yung mga Trolinang Babalina na mga taga-baba. Wala kasi silang maibato iba sa'yo, kaya inaatake ka na lang nila sa physical looks mo. Lalo na sa pageantry, wala silang mga koronang may pagmamalaki. And that is why when they troll me, I troll them back by tagging them on my Instagram stories na panay puno ng mga achievements ng mga Filipinas on international competitions. Kasi kapag nagsilabasa na tayo ng resibo, kahit na anong sabihin nila about my looks, about my weight, it doesn't matter because at the end, I have the receipts of a lot of Filipinas who actually made a name for themselves in the international competitions. And, the mere fact that in Miss International alone, almost half of the Asian winnings is Filipina. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's close to 50%, like around 40-45% yung share of the pie when it comes to Asian winners ng Philippines tells something about bakit tayo binabato. Ayun. Okay. Lemuel. Hello, Sir Jason. Magandang gabi po at present. Hello, Lemuel. Lemuel is one of our masugid na taga-subaybay dito sa ating mga pa-live. So, sir, baka naman yung mga Trolinang Babalina are just too bitter that we have great pageant system here in our country. And, I agree. Kasi, hindi naman sila pupunta dito kung they have a good system there. And there is this comment from one of those uh, Chupit Balors na sinabi niya na nagbayad naman yung girl nila. So bakit parang pinapalabas natin daw na free yung training, ganyan. And inihanuntulad niya din na nagtrabaho din naman ako sa Indonesia. So here's the difference doon sa perspective niya. The reason why they are coming here, it's because we are good mentors, we are good trainers. Just as the same as kaya sila pumunta dito sa Pilipinas para mag-hire ng mga katulad ko dahil wala silang mahanap sa pool of manpower nila doon na to fill the void that is needed. That is why they are coming outside of their country to look at other people to train them. Much like what we did during the time ni Miriam, na lumabas tayo for training. We did some training in Colombia and in Venezuela. The difference is after a while, we stopped that and then we started training girls of our own, finding the formula for our girls that is uniquely ours. And yan yung yung advantage natin ngayon, kaya sila pumupunta sa atin. That is why they go here in the Philippines, because una, they cannot afford to go to Venezuela and train under them. Diba? The Philippines is the closest and most economical na training ground for them. That is why you have, the reigning Miss Vietnam na pupunta dito sa Pilipinas para mag-train under Kaloy Buendia. That is why you have Laxmi na aside from nagpa-photoshoot kay Sir Raymond Sandanya, nagpa-train din sa isa sa mga camp natin dito sa Pilipinas. And mind you, I cannot say which camp dahil may gag order sila doon sa camp. Even if it's an open secret. Diba? Parang gusto niyang isikreto, pero open secret naman kung sino. Diba? So, there. Toffee's World. Hi, Sir Jason. Naka-attend na ako ulit. Ano bang balita? Nako, Toffee, ang dami na napag-usapan. And we started with Miss Charm, and we started with MGI and yung conflict sa mga schedule ng MGI activities with the Miss Earth na activities in the coming several days. We discussed about a little bit about Roan and yung the need for her to manage her her image very well, because it's not it's starting to crack. So medyo marami kami na rin. Now let's go to Bandy. To be honest, I'm expecting Rowan to follow a different path in the future, like being a celebrity in Thailand and retiring from pageantry. The thing kasi is Rowan is still young. Maybe it's yung kapusukan ng pagiging bata, yung it's the pagiging overeager at a very young age, that is at fault here. Kaya hindi niya nakikita yung the big picture. So I am hoping na na whatever her future may lead to, sana it will all look within good optics. Yon. Lemuel, 23.5. By the way, sir, what are your thoughts on the latest aggressiveness of BPCI when it comes to acquiring new licenses for the organization? The last silang nag-acquire was way back in 2013. No, I think it's around 2014. So, I am glad that they are aggressive with new franchises, but I am also hoping that they are even more aggressive when it comes to their relationships with the current pool of international franchise that they have, para hindi na sila malagasan ulit. And I am hoping that in the future they become more active with dialogues with their international na mga pageants, that they would send representative of their organization to the Miss Charm, or to the Miss Globe and other other international na mga organizations, so that it becomes that person becomes a bridge between the management and the international organization. Kasi maganda na nababantayan ng isang tao galing sa Binibining Pilipinas yung mga aktibidades na nangyayari sa international competition, because kapag mayroong representative tayo doon sa international competition, maganda na meron siyang fallback na tao if in case na mangailangan siya ng tulong. And having a representative of the BPCI or present doon sa doon sa proceedings ng organization, magkakaroon sila ng konting hiya naman yung mga international organizations na ito na hindi lutuin yung mga pageant nila, 'di ba? Parang mag-ingat kayo, may nakabantay sa inyo, tinitignan ang galaw ninyo, 'di ba? So it really helps, boost the morale of our candidate, and at the same time, they would see for themselves how the pageant is run. They would experience if is this a franchise that is worth na hawakan for the long term and build relationship with in the long term, or is this the kind of pageant na parang uy wait lang, mukhang questionable ang integrity nitong pageant na to. So we might have to severe ties later on, so that they become very more actively participant in these in the relationship with the international pageant franchises, at hindi yung nagre-rely na lang sila dun sa feedback coming from the queens. Maganda na may tao sila na nagmamasid, nagmamanman ng mga galawan sa loob para hindi naman agrabyado yung mga girls natin. Para kung sakaling magtanong sila na, oy, gusto namin mag-host kayo ng pageant na to, meron silang parang liaison officer na would appease yung mga clamor na ito ng mga international competitions, so that hindi naman sila yung bigla na lang lalayas basta-basta, di ba? There is someone in the organization na magsasabi sa kanila na, okay, let's see how this year progresses, because we need to find sponsors, we need to find the budget, we need to find a lot of financial na aid from the both private and government sectors if we want to bring, let's say, Miss Intercontinental dito sa Philippines. We cannot just say na we cannot have your pageant because it's not within our plans. We need to be more diplomatic. Kumbaga kinakailangan may tao tayo na hihimas-himas naman ng ego nila para hindi naman sila na-feel na they are neglected. And as well as it allows also a better dialogue between the organizations na may representative yung BPCI kapag nagfa-fly yung mga girls in their international competitions. So there. I hope that answers your question. Roscoe, okay. Hi, Sir Jason. I missed your original reimagined gowns you did for our former Baraza gowns. Would you love to see these entries again for our representatives now? The thing kasi, Roscoe, is that fashion, it gets dated eh. And even if sabihin natin na I've reimagined gowns like nung kay Janine Tugonan, it might not work nowadays because iba na yung need ng mga pageants ngayon. So I am not sure how would that translate, in today's time and climate. But what I would love to do sana is design a national costume for any of our girls na ako mismo talaga yung gagawa, because I have ideas of like combining the styles of Iris Van Herpen, Alexander McQueen, in one Filipiniana outfit. So imagine nyo kung paano siya magiging itsura niya, because I can imagine it in my head, but I'm too lazy to draw it out. So yon. And I would really love to take on a different attack on the armadillo boots ni Alexander McQueen na gusto ko sanang maisuot ng isang Filipina representative, whether it's for Binibining Pilipinas or even if it's just for, you know, uh, uh, an event or a talent event, something like that. Para lang, masatisfy yung thirst and need. Ayan. But let's see, that I would love to do something for any of our queens, kahit na it's just for a regional costume or it's just, a pang competition na costume sa Binibining Pilipinas in the future. Who knows? There. Um, we have, okay, Maria Elsa Padhuring. Pa-sweet Barbie lang si Sir Jason, hindi lang talaga siya maepal, pero may sense ang mga hanash in terms of pageant content. Thank you. In certain cases, kung minsan, kinakailangan ko din maglabas ng pangil. But when I do that, I try to be more intelligent in the attack. Kasi ayoko naman na hanash lang ng hanash just for the sake of hanash. That is why, nung inaatake ako ng mga trolls, the way for me to to reassert yung dominance ng Philippines and dominance natin sa kanila in the pageantry scene is to give them receipts, to show them that hello, mula 1950s 1960s nagpe-place na tayo sa Miss Universe. Ito ang resibo, ito yung pruweba na na kahit na awayin nyo kami, nangingibabaw at nangingibabaw pa rin kami sa inyo. There. Okay, we have someone new, Judy Carnable. Hi, Sir Jason. My first time interacting here. I'm from Cebu City, which is the Queen City of the South. Tama ba? Which is the mystical place ng mahiwagang tubig na wala pa akong nakikitang Cebuana na sumali sa national na pageant na hindi na nanalo. Okay, sabi ni Judy, I just want to say that you and Tita Lavinia are the country's premier pageant blogger. Period. Thank you with that. Kasi it's nice to hear compliments, especially when after the previous 24 hours that I had, where people are attacking me because of how I looks, not because of what I put into the table. It really, it warms the heart kasi it kind of reinforces yung belief natin sa sarili natin na hindi naman tayo totally 100% na devoid of value, because we are not just being judged on how we look, but on what we put on the table, of what value we bring into the conversation. So thank you, Judy. Maraming salamat. Lemuel, oh my God, ang dami na nating mga comments. Okay. Balik tayo kay Lemuel, para mabilisan na to. Sir Jason, thoughts on the MUO owner, Jakrajutatip, polling questions, asking fans what they want to see in MU. Based on her character, she's the type that is very considerate of what fans want. Okay, Lemuel. I saw that Instagram, IG na stories ni Miss Anne. And for those na in our live stream tonight, if after the live stream, go to her account, check her IG stories, because she is asking questions like who are the performers you would want to sing in the Miss Universe stage, or who you would want to host the Miss Universe pageant. And these are things that she does in order to interact more with the pageant fans, to get the pulse in terms of what do we think about the Miss Universe moving forward. And doon sa dalawang questions that she posted, doon sa unang question, which are the musical performers that's I would want to be on the Miss Universe stage, ang binanggit ko is Blackpink and BTS. And the reason for that, it's because it's about time that we start to highlight Asian culture in the Miss Universe pageant, especially now that the Miss Universe is owned actually by an Asian. And I think na if the Miss Universe want to make a global audience out of the entire proceeding, it needs to reframe the pageant in the way that international na mga acts and musical guests perform in the Miss Universe stage. And when I say international acts, it means globally acknowledged na mga performers around around the different continents gets to perform at the Miss Universe stage na may clout na, but comes from countries outside of the United States. Kasi parang for the longest time, the Miss Universe pageant has been very acclimated to, very planned towards the American audience, very tailor fit to the American tastes. And it's about time that the Miss Universe starts to think itself on a global scale na they need to have international performers of renown na sikat internationally at hindi lang sa US or hindi lang sa bansa nila but recognized all over the world to perform on their stage. And the second question is, sino yung mga host na gusto natin na mag-host ng pageant? And automatically, Lemuel and I have been discussing this, on our chats on Instagram. And we both agree that we want, Andy Cohen and Thomas Roberts to host the pageant. Imagine niyo, the LGBTQIA community is present on stage at the Miss Universe pageant, normalizing gay men as part of the conversation, as people who as visible people, as visible hosts na hindi nila kinakailangan itago yung kanilang sexuality in hosting the pageant, and that they are celebrated for it. And I think that's a strong message, especially that Anne herself is from the LGBTQIA na community. So yun yung mga sagot ko doon sa kanyang Instagram stories, and I hope na makinig siya na to bring that kind of dynamic, na to bring that kind of diversity in the Miss Universe na stage para well represented, lahat ng genders, lahat ng kulay, lahat ng ethnicities in the pageant. So there. Hajiev, sir. By the way, Sir Jason, what's the hullabaloo with Miss Bolivia? I think the national org should change their rep to just kill her chances. Okay, I don't know the whole picture, but from what I have read up on is that Miss Bolivia did a social experiment where she, she was very critical of the looks of either certain candidates or certain people. I am not sure with the details on that. And she was being called out with that. I think even Lalela Miswane, who is Miss Universe second runner-up in 2021, who is the reigning Miss Supranational, called her out on it. That no social experiment, something like should not be at the expense of the feelings of people, something like that. So I think that if you are going to do a social experiment, make it sure that nobody gets hurt. And I think that's the point that Lalela was driving at for Miss Bolivia, and she should have been very careful with how she carried it on so that it would not backfire on her. Because ang ngayon nang nangyari is it is backfiring on her, and she should be very careful moving forward because markado na siya ng mga tao na we do not want you as a representative of the Miss Universe organization because of what you've done. So ang hirap na niyang kumbaga parang she just killed her chances of winning the title, even if makapasok siya ng semis, it might be problematic kung manalo siya. So I don't think the organization wants that in their conscience. Okay, Rodvin is saying, Sir Jason, labas sa topic. Pero any news po regarding hiyas ng Pilipinas Queens? I feel sad for them kasi like di nawala yung pageant representation niya. Ano na kaya ang movements ni Eva? The thing kasi is, Eva is not the owner of the organization. She is just the national director, and siya yung isa sa mga inaasahan na magpapalakad ng organization. I have no idea kung ano yung internal na problema nila on the franchise and the franchise holders and the franchise international franchise na na international pageant franchise that they have relationships with. So I am, curious kung ano ba talaga ang nangyayari sa kanila? Is there a mismanagement on their side? Are the obligations, obligations with the international pageants that they have in their, in their pool, are those, well documented, well signed, and the agreements, are legal? Yun yung gusto kong malaman. Kasi if sa ngayon ang naririnig kong mga chismis around is that they are having issues with the franchise holders. So parang ang hirap naman na i-ano natin yon, i-question natin yon because we don't see, the legalities of and papers of these organizations. So mahirap din naman na we say na it's Eva's fault because if wala sa kanya yung mga dokumento at yung mga papeles, na kanino? And sino yung dapat na mag-areglo nito? So those are things that needs to be looked at before we really look at what is going on, kasi cosmetic na lang kung matutuloy o hindi. Muna natin dapat tignan is ano ba talaga ang nangyayari sa loob, diba? So there. Hindi lang. Inom lang ako sa dali. Bandy, sabi niya, hoping Kathleen Payton joins MUPH after her reign. She is a very strong rep for the Philippines. I agree. Although, tapusin na muna niya yung reign niya with, I think, with Miss Echo, bago siya magpursige, kasi she's still young. I think she's only around 24 or 25 if I'm not mistaken. I hope someone clarifies that on the comment section below. Kasi gusto ko munang may pahinga, may break siya in between her reign and joining again. Kasi guys, hindi nyo man nakikita pero magastos yung mag-join ng national pageants. Kasi una sa lahat, kung may mga video challenges sa Miss Universe Philippines like it had in the past year, gagastusan mo lahat yon. So kung kailangan mo ng 3 different kinds of video, lumalabas na sa 50 mil yung lalabas mo kada video na yon, di 150,000 tumataginting ang gagastusin mo on the video alone. Ang gowns ngayon, kung hindi sponsored at bibilihin mo on your own, medyo payat na yung 50,000. Maliit yun na budget for an evening gown. So you really need to be very careful na hindi ka maubusan ng pera, kasi kung ang pageant is like Binibining Pilipinas na tumatawid ng 3 buwan, medyo hirap nga yun. Paano kung naubusan ka na kalagitnaan pa lang ng competition? So you have to be really very careful with that, unless you have like a pro media na gagastos para sa iyo, 'di ba? Parang at least on that side, alaga ka. I mean, and we've seen that with Chelsea, na even in the international competition, very much alaga siya. Nung nagka-aberya sa sa flight niya, because of hindi mahanap sa records ng airline yung pangalan ni Chelsea, even though she has an actual physical ticket. Parang kung wala ang pro media there, saan siya pupulutin, di ba? And I also heard na when Roberta was still with pro media, allegedly, I am not confirming this. I just heard through the grapevine that almost 1 million yung nagastos ng pro media sa kanya. So it only goes to show how huge the amount that you need to shell out whenever you are competing at the national level. So hindi biro yung gastos, guys. Kaya if I were Kathleen, pag-ipunan niya if she ever wants to compete again in the MUPH na stage. Ayun. Bandy, Sir Jason, I miss your collabs with Tita Lavinia. Hoping you'll get together again during Miss Universe season next year. I hope so. I hope so. Sige, tingnan natin. Kausapin ko si Tita about that. So para hindi tayo tawag nito, hindi tayo mga ngako na hindi naman natutupad. And I think, every time na magkikita kami ni Tita, after the event, parati namin napag-uusapan na let's collab soon, and then hindi nangyayari for some weird reason na hindi magtugma yung mga after event na mga schedules natin there. Honestly, okay, this is from Haji F, Honestly, sir, napaka-problematic din ng Miss Globe. Especially si Madam, Madam MP. Yan. I think Binibini should start with a clean slate while retaining MI and strengthening the partnership with MI. Ang hirap din kasing sabihin na kumalas kasi for the longest time, nandyan ang Globe. Hindi sila bumitaw sa Binibini. So, I understand din naman na ayaw din naman ng Binibini to just cut off yung mga ties with these pageants, especially at this point in time na very volatile yung kanilang situation when it comes to franchises. Travel Junkie, hi sir, listening while driving. Travel Junkie, be careful while driving. I hope you stay safe, okay? Wag masyadong wag masyadong may enjoy yung live stream natin that that you don't pay attention to road safety, okay? Ingat sa pagmamaneho, please. Lemuel, back tayo kay Lemuel. Sir Jason, thoughts on the possibility of Miss Universe bringing back the iconic glamorous opening numbers back to the modern incarnation of the pageant amidst this kind of pandar? I am all for that. I am hoping na magawa nila ng paraan na ibalik yung national costume na opening, and then biglang pagdating sa stage pala naka Sherry Hill opening dresses sila while dancing to the latest upbeat na music na trending. So I'm hoping that kind of thing will happen sometime soon. Bandy, Sir Jason, supporting our girls. Justin Felizarta, who is competing in Miss Tourism World or International ba yun? Sa Vietnam. Magic Cruise in Miss Cosmo World, which is happening, I think, towards the end of this month in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. And Angelica Pantaliano from Mutia and Annabelle McDonald in their respective pageants. Yung kay Annabelle, I think next year pa. I think March of 2023 pa mangyayari yung Miss Charm, I think. Sana kayanin nyo, i-monitor sila kahit hectic. Yun na nga, it just so happened that this upcoming week is going to be the second week of our midterms. So, kakayanin natin yan. Maria Elisa P. Padjuring says, Sir Jason, ang ibang fans at vlogger, di sila happy sa production ng ME. But ang ME candidates, mukhang happy naman sila dahil tiba-tiba sila sa sponsors, lafang vacation, giveaways, pa-premyo, and more. Yun na nga. Now looking at at a newer and cleaner perspective, na kung yung mga candidates themselves are not complaining with accommodations, with the kind of hotels, and they are enjoying the experience, they are enjoying the warmth, the hospitality of the different municipalities here in the Philippines, then I don't think na there is any reason for us to complain. Kasi sila mismo yung in the ground experiencing these things, and if they feel that they are underhanded by the organization, then they should speak up. But looking at it na each of the candidates, mas marami mga candidates ang mas nagiging vocal at nagiging open with their thoughts that this is not something that we condone yung mga bashing, yung mga criticisms mula dun sa manok ni San Pedro to the hotels that they're staying. Parang then there's no reason for us to complain. Miss Earth is very unapologetic with what they are, but they are very passionate with their advocacy. So maybe doon na lang tayo mag-focus on. Dali lang. Kasi on my end, looking at the Miss Earth organization with this fresher and cleaner and newer, appreciation of the pageant, um, I am more focused at looking at the candidates in their intelligence rounds. Kasi ngayon ang tinitingnan ko are girls na have something to offer into the table in terms of the platform of the Miss Earth pageant. So I am hoping na tayo mga fans, we start to become more appreciative of that as well, na hindi focus talaga ng Miss Earth ang glamour. It is, a small aspect of the competition na kahit anong pilit natin, you know, hindi nila pagtutuunan ng pansin perhaps yan. So I think the best course that we can do para hindi tayo ma-stress is that let's just focus on the things that we enjoy dun sa pageant. And let's just hope na yung mga issues like yung height requirement ng Miss Philippines Earth before, ipagdasal na lang natin na matuto sila on that experience. And, call them out if they are doing things that are not fair to the candidates. Kasi yun naman yun eh. I think we are more up at arms or should be more up at arms kapag naagrabyado yung mga candidates. Yun lang. Pero kung yung mga candidates walang maireklamo, then I don't think there is a reason for us na to dwell on it. Yun. Okay, Lemuel 23:5 is saying, I hope the reigning Hias Dean Dian Balogal considers now crossing over to Binibining Pilipinas. She is no longer competing in Miss Tourism World. She is perfect for Miss International 2024. I am hoping that she finishes her contract first. Kung kung gaano man katagal yung contract na yon, kung if it's 18 months or 20 months or 16 months with the HIAS ng Pilipinas na organization before actually joining, kasi nakakapagod din yung experience. Nakakapagod din yung tawag ito, yung lumaktaw ka from another pageant. And Binibining Pilipinas, I've said it in a previous live stream, in a previous YouTube video before, is the most difficult national pageant to win it. Hindi madali ang sumali ng Binibining Pilipinas. Iba yung grit, iba yung determination na kinakailangan you possess if you want to win in this pageant, kasi it will test you in ways that other national pageants magmumukhang mani. Kasi there is a candidate who, or rather, okay, there is someone from Binibining Pilipinas na candidate before na lumaktaw sa MUPH. Nabanggit niya na mas nahirapan siya sa Binibining Pilipinas overall than MUPH. MUPH very mental very mental daw yung challenge sa kanya, but with Binibining Pilipinas parang lahat mental, physical, emotional, lahat yan mapipiga ka. So I don't know if other girls have the same experience, but it only cements how Binibining Pilipinas is really very difficult to win in. So I want Dean to think, mull over it, and be really serious kung talagang gusto niyang lumaktaw or mag-crossover. Kasi hindi madali. And with 3 months na on-site na activities, baka hindi niya kayanin kung hindi niya i-prepare yung sarili niya for that kind of very pukpukan na competition. So, yun. Although I agree, she would be perfect for Miss International. Okay, going back to Bandy, Sir Jason, may pageant fans suggested na mag-rebrand ang BPCI like Miss France na appointed to different pageants ang winner at runners-up nila. Do you think this is feasible? I think that would be a great idea. I am actually wanting na sana ang Binibining Pilipinas magkaroon ng isang national title that simply says Binibining Pilipinas 20-something or whatever year that is. And that girl would not have to compete internationally, but rather would have to serve, whatever local na mga charities, local na jobs ng organization and ng Araneta City for her to fulfill in. Kasi nakikita ko na there is a premium to being a Binibining Pilipinas winner. And if hindi man, hindi man magkaroon ng additional na mga international franchise holders, then I am hoping na i-elevate nila yung pageant by having a national winner na may option to compete internationally or not. Katulad ng Miss France. Is it feasible? I don't think so. I don't think na the Binibining Pilipinas would be open to that. However, I am hoping that um, whatever direction that the Binibining Pilipinas organization will move towards to, it will be the right direction for them as an organization. Kasi yun lang naman ang gusto nating mangyari, na hindi mabawasan yung prestige, yung kinang ng titulo. Because there's so much national pageants nowadays na parang it's a dime a dozen, and it really removes yung prestige ng having a national title kung ang daming titles na paglalabanan ngayon, di ba? Travel Junkie, I am enjoying Miss Earth events. What can you say sa mga candidates defending ME, and why don't you cover much of ME? Okay, so here's the thing. Nung nag-online ang ME, we didn't cover it that much. And the reason for that is there is not much reason to focus on, because they don't have the glamour na we all nakasanayan. And that's on me. And even the Miss Earth organization as well, hindi ganun ka-active on social media. And that is one of the reasons why, why anong klaseng update do you want us to do? What can we do to repurpose yung kanilang content na hindi mukhang ni-recycle lang, ni-repost lang? And whenever I cover a pageant, I need to find something that is uniquely angled from a different perspective, na hindi yung tipong ni-repost na lang lahat ng mga ibang pageant pages. So, ba't ko pa i-repost? Kalat na yan. Diba? And now, I've seen the angle where I can cover the pageant and make posts about it. Ang problem lang dito is that ang pageant people, especially on on Instagram, kapag hindi glossy yung picture or hindi glossy yung tawag nito, yung video, scroll up. They will just continue to scroll up. That's the problem. Kasi nasanay ang because Instagram is a very visual na platform. It's so difficult to have high reach and high engagements on Instagram. That is why nowadays, the most that I would post in a day is 5 siguro na mga posts. Kasi yung 5 na post na yon, pinaghahati-hatian yung reach. And kapag pinaghahati-hatian nila yung reach, naghahati-hati din sila sa engagement. And dahil hati-hati sila sa engagement, mas lalo silang hindi naboboost. Mas lalo silang hindi nakikita mas maraming tao. And that's the reason why I really need to find a way to look at Miss Earth with fresh new eyes, with fresh new perspective. And I think I found that. I am hoping na yung event nila with Ever Bilena, mapuntahan ko on Friday. And I already got like a heads up from Ever Bilena itself for that. So let's see. I am hoping that this first time that I would cover Miss Earth would be something that is productive, would be something na I find enjoyment with, because I am really going to be very picky with the pageants that I cover, because una sa lahat, pageantry does not contribute to me financially that much. In fact, I don't get as much financial rewards in coverages and in even in YouTube, as compared to, let's say, Adam or Tita Lavinia. So it's not my main bread and butter. And in order for me to take away or to put some time in pageant coverages, I really need to find, enjoyment and pleasure out of it. Kasi kung hindi ako nag-enjoy sa ginagawa ko, bakit ko pa siya gagawin? At my age, you know, um, I have committed that if it doesn't bring joy to me, I'm not gonna do it. And I am hoping na maging magandang experience yung first na pag-cover ko ng Miss Earth, in order for me to really to really na namnamin yung experience. And another reason why I am very adamant with covering the Miss Earth na pageant is that ang lalayo ng mga ano nila, ng mga events nila. And Versailles and Okada, kapag pumunta ka doon, how big is your chances na makakuha ka ng Grab, makakuha ka ng taxi pabalik? Yun yung problema sa Miss Earth. Na tipong makakapunta ka nga doon, pero yung pabalik mo, baka ngumanga ka. And I don't want to be stranded on a place na hindi ako makakauwi. And the thing kasi is I don't have my own car. I don't I rely on public transport. So I don't want, to add to the carbon footprint na bumili ng sariling kotse at maging gas guzzler siya, maging, economic waste lang siya because sa mahal ng ng gasolina, sa mahal ng bilihin ngayon, I don't want another financial burden on myself. So transportation and accessibility is one of the things that I really, really am, that is a really, big consideration me to cover a pageant. So, yon ang lalayo kasi ng mga events ng Miss Earth, 'di ba? So, hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon gusto kong i-cover yung ganung kalalayo. And also pangatlo, um, I am only covering by myself, events by myself. I don't have, the resources na mag-hire ako ng videographer, ng photographer, mag-edit ng mga videos. I don't do that because I do that myself. So I've already spread myself thin, and I don't want to cover an event and then not be very involved in it, and not be very, not make the most out of it. So yun yung yun yung reasons why I don't cover Miss Earth that much. And I hope that moving forward also for the Miss Earth, they would leverage social media in their platforms na sana they would rethink yung glamour na factor, because people are interested with, the good images, the beautiful images before they even read the caption. That is why in Facebook or even on Instagram, kapag hindi nila type yung image na nakikita nila, they're just gonna scroll past. And that's my experience, and I know that for a fact because I've been a social media manager of in the past, and I'm teaching social media management in one of the schools that I am teaching in. And research show na if you don't have a very captivating na image, they're just your audience will just scroll past you. So yun yung reason why, Miss Earth really needs to rethink uh, their their presence on social media, yung glam factor ng pageant nila, because it gets people talking about you as your as a pageant, and then they would later buy onto your ethos, into your values, into your into your what you're fighting for, kapag nahook na sila with the nice images, nice photos, kumbaga. So there. Tofi's World, Miss Universe 2022, sana yun? Hala. Program ideas. Opening is a pre-taped NatCos, I agree, with introducing their names and country, and then naka-flash yung prelims score nila for SSEG and interview, which is very 90s. Then naka-identical sana sila ng damit, which is very 2010s, with the Sherry Hill na mga opening dresses. I agree with that. While sinasabi ang top 15, then nakalagay ang average score nila, then swimsuit, tapos nandun ang scores ng mga judges. Then trim down to top 10, then top 5, tapos naka-soundproof booth. Again, which is very 90s. And I think I like this, I like this idea because it merges, mga elements from the 90s that we love and the 2000s na modern. And then, very 90s. Yes, love it. Okay, thank you, Office World. Then, Mandy, sir, do you think a beauty pageant with a glossy and HD production but lacking in social responsibility and advocacy will survive in the long run? Yes, I think so. Kasi meron at meron silang mabubudol with their very glossy na tawag ito na mga production. And that is why favorite sila ng mga Latina, di ba? But in order for a pageant to have soul, to have conscience, to have relevance in this world, they need to have, social responsibilities. They need to have advocacies. They need to have something to fight for. They need to have an ethos. They need to have, ethical standards, and they need to be socially relevant. Ayun. However, I think that the best pageant is someone that can manage those two aspects. The entertainment and gloss na factor, the HD na factor, and at the same time be able to really hold on to their values and really promote yung kanilang advocacy. Aanhin mo naman yung pageant na ang glossy-glossy pero sila yung unang nakikipag-away sa mga ibang pageant. So it doesn't make, it doesn't align well, 'di ba? And long term yan, sila din na mag-aaway-away dahil yun yung paandar nung nung pageant eh. So ano yun, best in paandar siya ang mananalo. Parang so you really need to have both to survive. You will have, a rotating siguro na tawag nito na audience kapag panay gloss ka lang, pero someone who will be loyal to you through and through, mapag-uusapan natin yan. Dorothy V. Jones just sharing an opinion. No hate. I believe Binibining Pilipinas is more focused and organized in being able to select representatives fit for international pageants. Miss France is more laissez-faire. Now, Maria LCP Paduring says, maging HD lang sana ang finals ng ME and its second best pageant in the world. Napakaganda ng advocacy, which is right. Ang daming candidates and deserving talaga kinokoronahan, not because may sash factor ang isang bansa. It's actually, Davona, the sovereign, who mentions to this. And she said that Miss Earth is actually the least problematic of all the alpha pageants. In general, of all the, the major international pageants, including, Sopra, Intercon, etc. And I agree with her kasi they treat their girls well, except for yung mga chismis na kumakalat ngayon where nasigawan daw si Miss Mongolia. I'm not sure kung how totoo yung chichi na yan, but hey, hindi naman siya kakalat sa mga pageant media kung hindi totoo. But anyway, Miss Earth I agree na is the least, problematic dahil the way that they chose their winners, bihira yung undeserving na nananalo. Yung mga nagiging continental queens, kung minsan wala kang maipintas sa kanila. And, very rare yung hindi sila kumorona ng tamang girl. And that is, the tatak ng ME. And they are very, very serious with their advocacy, which is also a good thing. So, in terms of yung gloss factor, yun talaga yung kinakailangan nilang pagtuunan ng pansin. And siguro magmumukha na tayong parang sirang plaka na inulit-ulit ito. Pero you cannot be advocacy driven na pageant because the pageant, the term itself is, you know, is self-explanatory na kinakailangan may pomp and pageantry na may gloss factor. So I just hope that ang ma-realize sana ng ME is that yung pageant, they need to have a glossy na preliminaries and finals para manahimik na yung mga bashers. And then they would have, they would have a very entertaining na finals para ma-appease yung international na audience who is wanting more oomph, you wanting more glamour doon sa pageant. Kasi um, ayaw nating mangyari na ang sumusuporta lang sa ME yung mga kandidata at saka ang mga Pilipino na pageant fans. Marami ng kakumpetensya ang Miss Earth. They also need to realize that. With Miss Charm na mukhang glossy ang kanilang magiging first year. So, parang kinakailangan nila mag-step up din. Di ba? Para hindi naman sila mapag-iwanan. Kasi sa totoo lang, napag-iwanan na sila in terms of, glossy. In terms of yung HD. In fact, ang mga pageants natin dito sa Pilipinas, yung mga national pageants natin dito sa Pilipinas, hindi mo maihanay sa Miss Universe Thailand because they have all the equipments, the technology there. Sana ang Pilipinas kung makahabol as, collectively as a whole. Okay, Lemuel 23.5, if you have to pick, sir, para sa'yo, which soundtrack would you like to hear MUO play again for the Miss Universe in this new era? Mine would be the 2011-2012 soundtrack na very upbeat. So that's Oriente, the Oriente musical score. Ako naman gusto kong ibalik nila yung pangalan nito, yung I forgot yung Wish Upon a Star something na ginagamit sa evening gown na competition, and I would just want na they do something modern with it kasi that song has been the part of the Miss Universe pageant for the longest time. I think it ended in 1994 or 1995 if I'm not mistaken. I think 95. Sana, just to harken back to its glory days. Okay, I think it's almost 2 hours na tayong chumichika, so let's start to speed up and wrap it this up na kasi alam kong may inaabangan pa kayong isang live ngayong gabi. Okay, Rod Vinciel, why not, sir, have some sort of partnership with someone na taga-South, say you and Tita L, para may exclusive coverage kayo sa events na nasa South? I'm thinking about that. I'm trying to look at, a someone na I have, relationships na worked with in the past para siya yung maging representative ko if ever na on the South yung mga pageants. Okay. Bandy, is there one saving glory for Miss Earth? If there is one saving glory for Miss Earth, it's the caliber of their candidates, Miss Universe level beauty, plus napaka-brainy ng mga candidates nila, ang aangas sa background and pedigree, which is I agree because I've looked at the pangalan nito, I've looked at the intelligence na nila na round nila, and I'm really impressed on the quality of the Asian and the African na contingency na mga group of delegates because they really brought in very succinct and very intelligent answers to the questions. In fact, if ever that I am that I'll be able to have a conversation with them later on this week, I would want to talk more about green legislations in their countries. Kasi kung maalam sila sa mga ganon, then I think yun yung sa tingin ko is the quality that would be beneficial to the Miss Earth to the Miss Earth na brand as a whole. Okay, an example of glossy kay Lemuel naman to. An example of a glossy production but lacking in social responsibility and solid advocacy is MGI. Hehehehe, just saying my observation. Um, So, Lemuel din, sabi niya, now that you mentioned having international singers on the MU stage, thoughts on having Morissette among Grace MU and dedicate power on extended version for international fans? Why not? I mean, Morissette naman is pretty much a very strong, powerful na singer. Magaling yung breath control ni Morissette when it comes to her voice, and she can really play with her voice, and I think um, that would be great for Miss Universe. But let's see kung kaya ba ng Miss Universe na kumuha pa ng mga high profile na mga singers for their competition. Okay. Yeah, Little Sisters. Yung kanta sa Little Sisters at Tony Polinas. Tama 'yon. I forgot the 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 title of the song. Parang Little Star or When You Wish Upon a Star. I'm not sure kasi it seems to be like two songs that has been merged together. Third Formarn. Hello. Welcome to the pa-live kahit pa-end na tayo. For me, Big Four pa din ang MU, Miss World, Miss Earth, and Miss International. Yung iba minor lang talaga at walang social relevance at hindi established ang advocacy. Toffee's World says, Sir, thank you for your time and good night. Thank you as well. And hope na jumoin kayo sa mga future na pa-live natin. Okay, Dorothy V. Jones, I'd like MU to have both new segments combined with the reintroduction of previously loved tunes, spills, segments, and treatments. Just one reintroduction a year perhaps. Tony Polinas, You're My Song, When You Wish Upon a Star. Era ko yung Little Sisters na yan. Thank you, Tony Polines, for the title of the song. Kasi that song for me is yung isa sa mga pinaka tumatak na mga kanta sa Miss Universe na pageant kasi nakalakihan ko siya from the 80s through the 90s. Yon. I think the year na tinanggal nila yung Little Sisters was when Donald Trump acquired it in 1996. Tama ba? I hope I'm right. And I hope na sana they would reintroduce some elements from the past just for nostalgia's sake. Para kilitiin yung natin, yung what do you call this? Yung nostalgia bone sa atin. Okay? I think it's already past 2 hours. So let me just wrap it up with the topic that we discussed for today with regards to yung magiging very problematic na timetable ng launch ng MGPh, and I hope na yung mga pageant media would be very wise in in covering the pageant, at yung mga pageant fans din na maging a little bit more understanding kasi marami dun sa mga coverages na to na may honorarium. So kung may mga pageant pages na who would choose na to cover MGPh, huwag nyo naman sanang masamain dahil kinakailangan din naman nilang kumita at magkaroon ng kabuhayan kasi hindi po biro yung mag-cover ng pageant kasi yung pamasahe, yung oras, yung internet bandwidth na kinakain ng coverage, those are coming from our own pocket. So we really need your understanding na sana kung may mga tao na who would choose to cover yung MGPh, maunawaan nyo naman kung bakit. And siguro what I would ask is just be civil. Kung ayaw nyo yung content ng MGPh, then don't engage with it. Boycott nyo yung pageant kung talagang ayaw nyo yung pageant na yun. But sana huwag nyo namang masamain yung pageant media if they cover or have topics on it, kasi if they cover it and they get honorarium for it, it would help with their expenses din naman. So sana maintindihan lang din natin yan. Okay, I think that's it for tonight's live live na live stream na session, and I hope na sana lahat kayo nag-enjoy at naintindihan din naman yung different nuances ng coverage natin on pageantry, kasi definitely hindi easy yung making decisions on which pageant to cover, because it will expose where your loyalties are. And for me, my loyalty is still with Miss Earth and Binibining Pilipinas, and that is why I would always choose to cover Binibining Pilipinas, kasi nandun yung loyalty ko sa kanila. And with Miss Earth, I am hoping na yung first coverage natin sa kanila would be a very enjoyable one, pleasurable one, so that moving forward, we are going to be more involved with coverages for the Miss Earth na pageant. Ayan. Lemuel, good night. Sir Jason, thank you for sharing your knowledge with the pageant community, and we gain a lot of insights on the matters involved. Dorothy V. Jones, let's promote maturity in pageant appreciation. Yes, please. Yung sinasabi nila na iangat natin ang diskurso ng pageantry, ito yon. It's when we become mature with understanding different perspectives, and having a different point of view, na hindi kinakailangan nag-aaway na lang parate, di ba? And understanding that there are different perspectives, and that this doesn't necessarily mean that nakaaway mo yung iba yung perspective mo sa'yo, but rather that these are things that does not fundamentally change you as a person, but it's just exposing that it's okay to have different opinions on things, kasi we can exist naman with differing opinions as long as we respect each other's point of view and be mature about that. Dorothy V. Jones, let's promote. Okay, I think Tony Polinas says, thank you, Jason, and have a good evening. Good evening din sa inyong lahat. Rodwin Fiel, thanks sa pa-live. I'm always looking forward sa lives and content ninyo. Thank you very much sa lahat ng sumubaybay dito sa ating pa-live ngayon. I hope na this session was a little bit more of an eye-opener for everyone. Definitely there will be differences in opinions, and I'm hoping na lahat tayo would be able to learn from each other, because we have different perspectives, different opinions that we bring forth to the table. And I am very, very thankful na yung mga sumusubaybay sa atin, yung ating mga viewers are very mature, very intelligent na mga tao, and our community is growing. We just hit 4,000 na followers, and I am very, very thankful for your support, and I hope na mapalaki pa natin itong community natin, because I am really enjoying the very insightful communications and discussions with you guys. Mas marami akong natututunan sa inyo, because you are giving me intelligent na perspectives on things, and it enriches me as well, as in as much that I hope I enrich your perspectives as well. So thank you very much for everyone, and see you soon in our next na live. And I am hoping, I am I'm working towards na every Sunday meron tayong content or meron tayong bagong pa-live, so that mas ma-enjoy natin yung ating chikahan together. Okay, so hope to see you in our next live stream, and see you again soon. Good night and take care, and ingat po tayong lahat, and have a great upcoming week, everyone. So bye, and see you again soon.